Okay, well, good morning, everybody, for Thursday, the 13th of April. Just taking a call that the launch point has a flat tyre. Start as you mean to go on, is all I'll say. Well, we'll get on to that. Right, so I'm pleased that rain moved through, the instability remains, though. I mean, we've got low pressure there of 1004 or so, that isobar line just running through us, an area of low pressure, which is starting to decay now. And with that, you can see some occluded fronts away. So we're at least going to see a reduction in the wind strength compared to yesterday. Lasham did have a gust of at least 55 knots yesterday, and it did cause a lot of disruption across the country, I see. But yes, for today, sunshine and showers with a still brisk westerly wind and still a waterlogged airfield. The winds across the airfield then, well, at the moment, probably around 30 knots at flying heights, but moderating to westerly at 20 knots at flying heights, more like 10 to 15 on the ground. The satellite picture over the UK revealing a bright start for us. Chance of some showers over the higher ground over Wales and into the West Country that we need to keep an eye on. So we'll just have a look just to see what is going on out there at the moment. And with a bit of luck, we shall see that there is a fair amount of shower activity in the Channel. Most of the other shower activity is at the moment just keeping a bay into Devon and Cornwall. But hopefully things will dry and stabilise out a bit during the day, and we won't see too much in the way of shower activity. But certainly, as we look at the public forecast, it's not ruled out, with the top temperature today of 9 degrees, but better than what we've had. And I'm pleased to say, as we go into the weekend, that things will start to dry up again, because we really do need it. The airfield does not normally have this amount of water on it at this time of the year. So yes, see your westerly winds fairly constant there, good visibility outside of showers, and yeah, just that probable chance of showers. GFS shows top temperature a little bit higher of 10 degrees, maybe 11 in isolated spots, and dew point nice separation down to about 2 degrees. OGM are currently reporting few at 2,000 feet, gusts up to 30 knots potentially during the day today. I think that's fairly unlikely, if I'm honest. I think more like gusts up to 25 today. You can see there, scattered clouds, 4,000 feet of cumulonimbus that we'll probably see at some point during the day, but at least that means we'll have a nice and convective cloud base. And as you look at this now, your main headline is view at 3,000 feet. Just look down the road at Farnborough, see if there's any difference in their forecasts. They're on the same page as me, 15 gusting 25, and yeah, a reasonable chance of rain showers. David's forecasts, I have just been keeping up. I'll just leave it up there for a moment. I'll have a look at what he's been saying this morning. But it does generally point towards a sort of showery picture, and the wind continuing to drop during the afternoon. And it does look like that the best area is probably going to be South Wales and the West Midlands, although not particularly bad around us if you ignore the shower risk. So probably some good energy lines to run down there as well. That's the picture outside at the moment, nice and bright. A little bit of probably scuddy low cloud, which is going to move across the airfield briefly, but shouldn't cause us too much of an issue. And we currently have a temperature of 7, dew point of 3. On to top meteo then, and your slight forecast for today is that. So running probably some streeting within these shower lines, hopefully a bit less energy compared to last week. If you were here last week, you'll remember a massive convergence line which set off a load of showers and thunderstorms. But good over the top of us, good into Wales. It's not normally that good in that bit there, out towards the western coast of Wales. So I'll be intrigued if that is quite that good. But yeah, does look like it should be an interesting day. And I appreciate I've only got one model here. SkySight is probably a little bit different. But if we start around 10, 10:30, then probably soarable to around 3,000 feet above Lasham. By lunchtime, looking at 3,500 to 4,000 feet above Lasham, and then maybe later this afternoon 5,500 feet above Lasham. In other spots, I mean, obviously you can see windward coasts there, just getting a bit of sea air, but out into the Midlands, looking at 2,000 metre cloud base, quite possible with streeting. A little bit lower down towards Somerset and Devon, and chance of it being a little bit drier, a little bit less Q, but I think it would be unlikely for it to go too blue, put it that way, given how much moisture there is in the air. And you can see the shower risk for Lasham is there, but it seems to go mostly south of us, which is what the BBC was sort of suggesting, with probably around 5:05, it's starting to fall apart. Just see if cloud distribution loads. Yes, it does. And as you can see there, shower activity on the south coast, reasonable amount of Q with us, but maybe sometimes getting a little bit more congested or overdeveloped during the day. But there isn't really an inversion till a lot higher. We'll have a look in a moment where that inversion is likely to be. But yeah, I think the later we go on to the day, the higher the shower risk. So yeah, on the whole, not a bad day, given what we've had over the last few. Let's just see if we can get a final site forecast for you then. And as we can see there, chance of a shower late this afternoon. Fairly reasonable climbs, actually, looking at that. 3 knots, so probably 5 knots in the core. Peaking above Lasham at around 4,500 to 5,000 feet. Ceph's inversion does sort of wean out, at least. And your temperature at 5,000 feet is a chilly -4 degrees. So probably not a day to go flying in cloud, if I'm honest. And there's probably a reasonable chance of hail in that too. Tops of clouds today going, it says, potentially up to 15,000 feet. It wouldn't surprise me if that goes a little bit higher, but I'm hopeful that it won't be quite as unstable as we've had recently. And that's fairly constant westerly wind throughout. So yeah, I think reasonable day, but it is going to be wet at times. Okay, well, our NOTAM at Benson has disappeared. Let me just check if that is still the case. First bit of information for you is that Farnborough have a royal flight, which means that the Class CS becomes Class D between 11:40 and 12:55. So that's Class E airspace at Farnborough, that's CTA 8, the bit just to the south of us, will be Class D from 11:40 to 12:55 local. There appears to be no NOTAM of parachuting to the west of Benson. That's good news. And but there is article dropping going on at Abingdon today, and that will be occurring, if we look at 21, between 10 and 5. So avoid Abingdon, please, if you can. Parachute jumping at Bryce Norton. I seem to love doing that. All day again today. So parachute jumping at Bryce Norton. And 14 probably isn't relevant to us. No, not relevant. Further away, 26 will be probably a ATZ NOTAM or small arms fire. Yeah, not notable. Sywell active with aerobatics, potentially. Yep, so Sywell active aerobatics today. And 22 out that direction into Wales is just nothing of relevance. So on the whole, relatively good. And in the vicinity of Yeovil, again, nothing of note. Keep putting these silly NOTAMs which are not relevant to gliders on there. So yes, do always check your NOTAMs before you go flying. You are the pilot in command, so you cannot blame me if I haven't briefed something. But there are no restricted area temporaries that I'm aware of other than the upgrade of the Farnborough control zone to Class D at various points of the day. Right, so we have a waterlogged airfield. Again, I'm going to set the launch point up. Winching will be on the south side on the runway, aero towing here. glider parking for club gliders will be here. And really, my request is, unless you are ready to go flying, do not, if you're in a private glider, do not just turn on the runway. I do not want to see gliders left here or around over here, because it just blocks up the runway. It defeats the point of me trying to keep the grass good. So please do not come to the launch point until you are imminently about to be taking a launch. So that should be de-hitch the car and drop it off and then come and fly. No waiting for whatever you're waiting for. We really need to make sure that that we're on it today. If we do end up with it drying out, then I'll try and go back to a normal launch point setup. But I'm afraid, given what's been going on with the weather, I think that's fairly unlikely. In that setup, then, left-hand circuits, which I know it's really bad drawing, will land on the runway. Right-hand circuits to land on the grass. Please don't try and mix that up. It's not particularly impressive. No overflights of the launch point by anything. You're not a Navajo. So no overflying and landing over the launch point to get to your trailer over here. That's not acceptable. You've got to, unfortunately, brush a little bit of mud off your glider there. So yeah, probably best areas to avoid down here, because that's going to be really waterlogged. If you do need to land on the runway, same down here. Probably a bit squidgy around here as well. Generally elsewhere, there'll be water patches, probably okay on the north side, but soft. So bear that in mind. And safety thought of the day, which I'm going to be introducing a little bit more of, is have you done your independent control checks when you've rigged your aircraft? Rigging is a major topic currently in the BGA, and we do want to make sure that people are not distracted during the rigging process. So please suspend your conversations with your mates when you're rigging. Just get it together, do your independent control checks, and then chat all the way once you've done the DI. We just want to make sure that you come back safe. Good. I imagine the fields will be fairly wet as well, so not really a good day to land out. But from the looks of it, a nice auroral day, a bit waterlogged on the airfield. No jet movements. See you on the airfield. Bye for now.